Directeur d'Ignitia et elle représente, elle est notre ambassadeur pour les instruments PME. Nous sommes très contents qu'elle soit là aujourd'hui. Merci.
There we go. Good morning. My name is Lisa Petrakowska, and I'll tell you a little bit how it is to make business in Africa from an entrepreneur's point of view. But first of all, I would like to tell you that Ignitia, our company, is one of the SME instrument awardees, which is a program that is run by the European Commission. So within this framework, the European Commission handpicks businesses that they believe are disruptive and have potential to grow very fast, and supports them both with investment and other technical support. So back to our business. At Ignitia, we do tropical weather forecasting, and I'll very soon tell you why that is so different from what is available today. We have businesses today established in Ghana in West Africa and in Nigeria, and I am myself based in Lagos in Nigeria today. So if you look at the world map up there, you can say that all those blue areas, they already today have a highly reliable weather forecast. It was developed centuries ago, and since then we have been refining it and making it better and better. However, in the white area, in near equator areas, there is today absolutely no reliable weather forecast. Weather in the tropics is much smaller in scale, and there are no low pressure systems, no high pressure systems, no fronts, basically no horizontal temperature differences. All weather is governed by something called convective processes. And from a physics point of view, we haven't understood these good enough to be able to make a reliable weather forecast. So what are we doing different in predicting weather compared with other big actors? Well, let me explain. I would also just mention that the 1 billion of the population that is today in Sub-Sahara will grow to 2.4 billion by 2050, and 80% of this population also highly depend on agriculture for their livelihoods. So, worth mentioning. Here we have two satellite images. The little dots you see over there, they are thunderstorms. This picture is taken from outside of Nigeria on the coast, and what happens when we apply our weather models to this is the following. Did you know that there are basically only 3 providers of weather forecast? When you guys look at your apps, maybe you will Google it on internet or you watch TV, those are most likely produced of one of these 3 actors that I'm mentioning on the left-hand side. However, there are thousands of weather service providers that repackage this and make analytics on the weather to provide to different industries. What we do with this is that we have figured out a way of modeling the physics so we can actually also represent these kind of heavy tropical thunderstorms. And this has led to clear accuracy change that we can provide to the industry. What happens on the left-hand side is that the thunderstorms get like smoothened out along the grid, and it shows up just like drizzle in the model. And everyone is aware of this, so the global models then just tune it up and say that it's going to rain even more in these areas. And this ends up having a 39% accuracy, which is more wrong than right, while we have been able to find a model that can now provide 84% accuracy in these areas. Okay, I would like to show you a real-time example of this. Just copied from BBC News straight. The map in the background of these 2 pictures is exactly the same, so we have a little part of West Africa showing there. The first picture you see, you can say that the light blue and the green is rainfall. The light blue is like drizzle, while the green is slightly heavier rain. This is a prediction made 48 hours ahead and a real comparison. What we predicted was that it will just be a few spots of rain in this region, and then along the coast it will also be a few strings of rain. And this is what happened 48 hours later. It's a satellite picture of the same area. You can see those two spots being represented there, and if you would be a meteorologist, you could also see that the strings are actually there, though you see them very poorly on this picture. This can help a number of industrial actors to mitigate risk and increase operational efficiency. To mention a few, air transportations, offshore activities, marine activities, mining, that can also get their operational efficiency up. But what we chose to focus on is actually the small-scale farmers. And I'm going to show you here about how this worked out. We made a partnership with one of the biggest telecommunication operators and said, how could we provide weather to small-scale farmers? Figured out that most of them had phones, but basic phones, China copies. So we needed to find a way of delivering this to them that was fairly simple in a very simple language. But on the good side, what we figured out was that if a farmer gets a forecast about rain, he or she knows very well what to do with that forecast, what kind of actions to take. To the business model, every farmer, a farmer can normally not afford to pay for such a service before the season starts. So what we did instead, we said, we're going to charge you daily, 3 cents. And you sign up by a short code, and then you can start subscribing to our services. This was something we started in Ghana 4 months ago, and the result was that from having 0 subscribers at all, this spread around the country, and in 4 months we now reached 66,000 subscribers in Ghana. About 1,000 new farmers join every day to our service. So that shows the usefulness, but also that farmers were willing to give the trust for our service and willing to also pay for something that previously had been for free on radio, but not so accurate. I can show you one picture of the marketing campaign we did. We tried to make it extremely simple and find something to, an expression that would be something that the farmers would say themselves. And being beaten by the rain is something that Ghanaians use as an expression. Okay, a few real-time examples then. One of the few things that I really believe in is if you want to do some change, you really need to focus on the bright spots. And this became really clear to me a few weeks ago when I had a very important business call. And I was in US with a great phone connection, I believed, and my colleagues in northern Ghana, they could hear everything and communicate very clearly, while I was breaking up all the time. So this already shows how the growth in Africa and within the mobile industry is getting outstanding. Another example from last year was that we had a delay in our normal season, which means that the rainy season actually started 3 weeks later than normally. Though it started raining and farmers believed oh yeah, now it's really time to go out there and put our seeds out, however, WhatsApp then out a text message saying, no, wait a second. Actually, it's not going to rain the next 3 weeks. It's going to be hotter and drier than normal. So by this, we could exemplify how 8,000 farmers planted later in the season, and by that also had a yield that year. They would have lost 100% otherwise. I think I stopped there. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Very, very interesting. And now that's finally the end of the